Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Monday, it's evening. I can breathe a lot easier than I could over the weekend, so we're thankful for that. Thank you for all the suggestions. Many of them were quite helpful, but I have to say the worst of it took until 7 o'clock last night before I started to feel any better. But this morning, when I was reading the news, I saw a couple of articles and it made me think of the unforeseen consequences. Um, and when I explained what I was reading today, and I don't know where it was, I think it was a headline that I saw on Bing, so it was either like the Daily Mail or the Daily Express. It was something like that. And the first one was about a shared ownership development down south, like quite far down south. Now, shared ownership was designed to give you a foot on the housing ladder. That's how I got this place. It started as shared ownership and then I managed to buy it out completely with a mortgage, which I'm still paying. Um, and, it's been very successful in many places. However, this one development, people obviously did exactly as I did and thought, yeah, I can start, and we can sell it and move on as the family grows, etc., which was great for the first couple of years. Then the developer, who was the freeholder of the land in the other part of the house, sold out. And they sold out to a company registered in a tax haven. Now, I can't remember if it's the Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, British something or other. But whatever it is, it's not somebody with British bank accounts and stuff. It's a broadness. And so now, for anyone to buy these properties or part of these properties, because the freeholder is not registered here, they have to be buying from cash. Nobody will give them a mortgage. And the amount of sales that have fallen through, there's some people have had 3 or 4 sales fall through because the mortgage lenders just will not lend on it. So of course you've got these young families that, started there thinking, well, when we need a 3 bedroom house or if we need a 2 bed, we'll sell. And they can't do it because the freeholder, the original developer, sold out to some company that's based, I think it's British Virgin Islands is coming to mind, but they won't, they can't get mortgages for it now. So they cannot sell unless they have someone who is a cash buyer, which nowadays is very hard to come by. And I was like, who would have thought that? Because mine was through housing association. This was housing association, part rent, part buy. I would never have thought someone who was doing that would be able to sell up that would have made it impossible or almost impossible for people to move forward. So that was my first unforeseen consequence. And my second one was, it's an oldie but it's a goodie. For the last few years, there's been reports on how food production in the UK is going to be a bit of a problem. And the headline I saw just not long before I came on here was that there was tractors doing a demonstration in London today. But what it is this new thing that they've brought in for farmers. Now, I don't know how much you know about farming. I don't know that much because although I am in very much a farming community, I was in Young Farmers as a teenager. My dad was a mechanic. My mum worked in a hotel. We weren't exactly a farming family. Um, but I do know that there are seasons, and that there's the you've got like your spring crop and your winter crop, like potatoes are your winter crop, and I know that they do in betweeny ones. Now, seemingly, farmers are being incentivized to change this in betweeny one. So whereas they would maybe plant like beans or something in between, the oilseed rape and the potatoes. Now they're getting paid to plant something that they class as a pollinator for the wildlife. Now, don't get me wrong, I know we all need wildlife. But one farm is losing 30% of their food production just by taking out these in-betweeny crops. What happens if there's a lot of farmers do that? And I know that our fruit farm, where I used to get all my raspberries and strawberries, because I would phone them up and say if you get any jamberries, because obviously it's a waste for them, and I would hike down and go and get them. They're not opening this year. They're done. They said, we're not planting this season. Now remember as well, there's all this thing about the new imports. Now, a lot of plants, especially food plants that are brought into the UK, come from the EU. And inspection time has now been extended. There's no guarantee those plants are going to be there. It's no longer a 3-day before they leave the farm in Holland and they get to the farm in Perthshire. It could be over a week. Now, in that big warehouse where these professionals are checking these plants for diseases and stuff, I hope someone's watering these plants, because if not, a lot of our farmers are not going to have any crops. So, on one hand, I get why the countryside people, the environmentally friendly people are saying, look, we need to try and help our pollinators. Absolutely get that. I get why they're saying, we need to try and use more solar. Losing food production to put in a solar farm or put in pollinator plants that are non-food, it's quite a consequence, and an unforeseen one for me, certainly. So yeah, my wee brain's been ticking over with them today. Bit of a thing. And I dread to think what other consequences there are of things that I haven't actually picked up on yet. Because the one about the farmers, that's been there for, that went through a few years ago. I think the headline, when I typed it in, when you type in Google and you get the headlines, one of them was 2020, so that was 4 years ago. And this is us just starting to think about it now. And as for the one with the housing, if you're in a part rent, part buy, go and check who your freeholder is, because that might have a huge consequence to you. So now I'm going to go get this uploaded, and I will catch you later.